Hey, you guys. Hey, you guys. So I came on here tonight because I wanted to share some information for Pseudo Killas. And by the way, I saw Julanda early this weekend. I saw Julanda early this weekend at the Malcolm X Fest. I'm surprised she ain't said not one single word to me, but hey, I saw. I saw her. I saw her ass. Yeah. But anyways, I saw her there with Uncle Cat and all the rest of them. Yeah. But anywho, so I was thinking about that whole situation with Cedric and Dr. Too Sweet. And I just couldn't get it off my mind. So I felt compelling to get some information on research methodology. Okay. And I would say, me personally, I need books on research methodology myself. I really need it because, in the near future, I plan on going back writing some essays, or eventually I'll start doing presentation. And I want to make sure that I get everything on point. I want to make sure that my presentation is top notch. I want to be able to make sure that my essay is top notch whenever I plan on doing so. So, this is for me as well. Okay. But this is especially for those in Pseudo Killas. After Cedric got busted for using AI quotes in his presentation. Bro, you using AI quotes, that's not a good look for you. So this is what I want you to do. Because if you guys plan on being top notch in your debate, you got to make sure your research game is on point. You got to make sure that your sources is on point, right? Make sure you cite your sources without using AI. And I hope you guys know about APA formatting, because that's the most common formatting to use when it comes to citing your sources. Okay? Didn't think I know that, huh? Again, I went to college. And that's what they taught us. So MLA is the basic formatting, but the most common use of formatting when it comes to citing sources is APA. All right? And for those of you that might ask what APA stands for, let's look it up. All right, so APA stands for American Psychological Association, right? And it says APA style provides guidelines for formatting, citation, and referencing, ensuring consistency and clarity in academic writing. Okay? So that's what APA stands for, American Psychological Association. And that's the common use of formatting. All right? So again, I'm saying this to say that we all can use a little help if we're going to write papers, if we're going to do presentation, right? So that way we don't have to cheat ourselves by using APA. I mean, not APA, by using AI quotes. All right. Especially when it comes to doing debates or writing papers. Now, here on my channel, I just like to share information. I like to share books. I like to share articles. That's what I do on here. Okay. So I don't really do debates. And I really don't do presentation like that. All right, I'm not a presentation person, and I'm not a debate person. I'm just a person that like to share like different archives, different books, and things like that. That's what I like to do on my channel. But if I was ever to get into a debate, I want to make sure that I am on point, because people watch everything. People pay attention. I mean, people pay attention to how you got your damn presentation set up, what type of sources you use, how you cite your sources, and all of that. So I'm doing this out of love. I'm doing this out of love. Okay? Because I think I've been going a little too hard on y'all lately. So I'm doing this out of love for you guys. And also, I want to talk about a well-respected elder in the community who actually have credentials, who actually have credible sources, who know the meaning of research. Okay? I'm going to share that information later, but let's go ahead. Let's talk about the books that I would recommend personally. And don't worry, I purchased a book of my own because, like I said, eventually I want to be able to make sure that I be on top of my research game too. Make sure that, you know, if I ever do an essay or do a presentation in the near future, I want to make sure I got everything on point. All right, so here it is. So this is phdassistant.com, right? What are some good books on research methodology or however you want to pronounce it? Okay. I say methodology because it's better. It's comfortable. So the first book is The Craft of Research, right? Let me click on the title. All right. The Craft of Research by Wayne C. Booth and Gregory G. Colum, Joseph M. Williams. Research design, qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods approaches. All right, second edition. Qualitative inquiry, research design by John W. Caldwell. And here's another one. It's called Research Methods and Methodologies in Education. And Introducing Research Methodology, Uwe Flick. All right, so these are the list of books that can be used for research methodology, right? Now, some people might want to know what is quantitative and qualitative research. So let's go into the definition of that, shall we? Let's go into what is qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods approaches. What are those definitions? All right, so okay, let's look at what is qualitative research methods. All right. Okie dokie. What's going on? Peace, Clarence. Peace to you. What's up, Dunny? All right, so here it is. Qualitative research. So, qualitative research is a type of research that aims to gather and analyze non numerical data in order to gain an understanding of individual social reality, including understanding their attitudes, beliefs, and motivation. All right, this type of research typically involves in depth interviews, focus groups, or field observation in order to collect data that is rich in detail and context. Qualitative research is often used to explore complex phenomena or to gain insight into people's experiences and perspective on a particular topic. It is particularly useful when researchers want to understand the meaning that people attach to their experiences or when they want to uncover the underlying reasons for people's behavior. Okay? And so the qualitative methods include ethnography, grounded theory, discourse analysis, and imperative ph- femina, excuse me, phenomenological, excuse me. I can't even get the word out. Okay, imperative phenomenological analysis. Uh, all right, so I'm gonna come back to that. But the qualitative research methods have been used in sociology, anthropology, political science, psychology, communication studies, social work, folklore, educational research, information science, software engineering research. Again, imperative phenomenological analysis. Imperative phenomenological analysis. All right, so I know we wondering what the hell is that. So the imperative phenomenological phenomenological analysis is a qualitative form of psychology research. The IPA has a ideographic focus, which means that instead of producing generalization findings, it aims to offer insight into how a given person in a given context makes sense of a given situation. Mm, that's pretty deep, isn't it? All right, so basically, the qualitative research is used more so in psychology or in sociology settings, right? So basically, it deals with information that's gathered based on interviews, right? And focus group or field observation, meaning that you go out somewhere in public and you make an observation on what you see, what's going on. And based on your observation, you write down what you witness and what you have observed or whatnot. So they call that a field research. Okay. So the qualitative research is basically doing a lot more field research. Again, you interviewing people, you in focus group, or let's just say you go to an event or something and you participate in the event or whatever the case may be. So I'm gonna give you a good example of somebody that did a qualitative research. Zora Neale Hurston. Zora Neale Hurston. Zora Neale Hurston was a anthropologist, right? A lot of people don't know that she studied anthropology. So she did a lot of field research. So her research method would be the qualitative research because she did interviews, she sat with people, she participated in events, right? She also had people come out there and record the interviews, do video, I mean not video, what is it called? Do the filming, film the interviews or whatnot. So that method will be the qualitative research. Okay. That's what she did. Now, let's get into let's get into let's get into the quantitative. Let's look at the quantitative. All right, so All right, the quantitative research. Now, the quantitative is a research strategy that focuses on quantifying the collection and analysis of data. It is formed from a deductive approach where emphasis is placed on the testing of theory shaped by empiricists and positivist philosophies. So, associated with the natural, applied, formal, and social sciences, this research strategy promotes the objective empirical investigation of observable phenomena to test and understand relationships. This is done through a range of quantifying methods and techniques, reflecting on its broad utilization as a research strategy across differing academic disciplines. So there are several situations where quantitative research may not be the most appropriate or effective method to use. When exploring in-depth or complex topics, when studying subjective experiences and personal opinions, when conducting exploratory research, when studying sensitive or controversial topics. The objective of quantitative research is to develop and employ mathematical models, theory, and hypotheses pertaining to the phenomena. The process of measurement is central to quantitative research because it provides the fundamental connection between empirical observation and mathematical expression of quantitative relationships. All right. Quantitative data is any data that is numerical form, such as statistics, percentage, etc. The researcher analyzes the data with the help of statistics and the hope numbers will yield an unbiased result that can be generalized to some larger population. Qualitative research, on the other hand, inquires deeply into specific experiences with the intention of describing and exploring meaning through text, narrative, or visual based data by developing themes exclusive to the set of participants. All right, so quantitative research is widely used in psychology, economics, demography, sociology, marketing, community health, health and human development, gender studies, political science, and less frequently in anthropology and history. Research in mathematical science, such as physics, is also quantitative by definition, though this use of the term differs in context. So, in the social sciences, the term relates to empirical methods originating in both philosophical positivism and the history of statistics, in contrast with qualitative research methods. Okay? So when you using quantitative research, right, you're dealing with numbers, you're dealing with percentage. Watch this. Quantitative research is generally closely affiliated with ideas from the scientific method, which can include the generation of models, theories, and hypotheses, right? The development of instruments and methods for measurement, experimental control and manipulation of variables, collection of empirical data, modeling and modeling and analysis of data. All right. So that's the difference. So quantitative deals with the number and the percentage, whereas qualitative is dealing with going in depth with interviews, finding out information based on studies, based on field research and observation, etc. Right? But at the end of the day, what they both have in common, you still dealing with research. One is just dealing with interviews, right? Dealing with people's subjective point of view about things, okay? And quantitative is dealing with the percentage and numbers of those individuals that are participants. So if you go to certain website, right? Like, let me give y'all a good example of a website they use quantitative research. All right, so let me give you a good example. Okay. If you guys can see this website. Okay, so this website here is called the National Library of Medicine, National Center for Biotechnology Information, right? So in this website, they use a lot of quantitative research. They use a lot of quantitative research, meaning that they deal with a lot of percentage. So when they go and study about those who are participating in some type of project, or or if they doing some type of specific study, they use numbers. Okay, they use percentage. All right, so this website will deal with a lot more like biology, they deal with things probably dealing with genetics, medicine, things of that nature, right? And of course, they get into some of psychology and stuff like that. But again, they deal with numbers. They deal with the percentage on here. Okay, so just giving you guys an example. Now, let's see. What else I want to talk about? Let's talk about mixed research method. Mixed research methods. All right, so all right, so this is called the multi-methodology or methodology, as I like to say it. So the multi-methodology or the multi-method research includes the use of more than one method of data collection or research in a research study or a set of related studies. So mixed methods research is more specific in that it includes the mixing of qualitative and quantitative data, methods, methodologies, and or paradigms in a research study or a set of related studies. One could argue that mixed methods research is a special case of multi-method research. Another applicable but less often used label for multi or mixed research is methodological pluralism. All of these approaches to professional and academic research emphasize that the mono method research can be improved through the use of multiple data sources, methods, research, methodology, perspective, standpoints, and paradigms. Okay. So basically, what the mixed method is a combination of both method is a combination of both quantitative methods and qualitative. So you use a combination of both. Okay. So again, this is something that pseudo killers won't be talking about. They won't even discuss the type of research method, but then you hear them always talk about research method, research method. Okay, well, what type of research method have you done? So this is the question that people should be asking those individuals. And yes, I know I messed up on my reading, so I know I fucked up. But anyways, this is the type of question that you should be asking those in pseudo killers that always talk about research method. Ask them, well, what type of research method did you use on information that you call pseudo? So anytime you hear somebody, anytime they holler out the word pseudo, 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 pseudo all the time, right? They use it like it's a hot potato. All right, the question should be, well, what type of research method did you use on this information that you call pseudo? For example, and I brought this example up, but I'm gonna bring it up again. I remember Ankh saying that meditation was pseudo. So if meditation was pseudo, what type of research method did you use to prove that meditation was pseudo? What type of research method did you use to prove that meditation was pseudo? Did you use the quantitative method? Did you use the qualitative method? Or did you use the mixed method? How did you go about finding out that it was pseudo? Did you actually do the field research? Did you do the field observation? Or is it your own personal opinion based on how you feel about it? Did you actually sit down and interview people and ask people what was it like to go through the process of meditation? And did meditation actually work for you? What did you benefit from meditating? She the only one. She's the only one. Well, you know what? I wouldn't say she's the only one, but she's one of the few. She's one of the few, or she was one of the few from Pseudo Killas that will probably actually go and do actual studies and research. Even with scientific methods, it's still similar. It's similar to quantitative method. But since we on the subject about scientific method, let's talk about it. Because scientific method still requires research. So the question is, did you do the scientific method as you claim? Did you actually go out and interview people who are into meditation? Did you do the field research? Now I can see certain things being pseudo. I can see certain things being pseudo. Like you can point it a mile away. You can point it a mile away when something's off. You can point it a mile away. It's not hard to like figure it out. But if you make a claim on something that you don't find beneficial in your own personal life, right? Then it's just an opinion. But unless you can prove it to be a fact that is indeed pseudo, then that means you got to actually go and do the research. Go do the research. Go through the scientific methods that you talk about on here and ask those people, well, what did you benefit? What did you gain from it? But you know what? Let's go back to the books. So here's the books right here. The Craft of Research. Research Designs. Qualitative Inquiry and Research Design. Research Method, Methodologies in Education. Introducing Research Methodology. But since we talk about scientific method, let's talk about it. Let's get on scientific method real quick. Now, what is scientific method? Since we own the subject, let's look at that. Scientific method is an empirical method for acquiring knowledge that has been referred to while doing science since at least 17th century. Historically, it was developed through the centuries from the ancient and medieval world. The scientific method involves careful observation coupled with rigorous skepticism because cognitive assumption can distort the interpretation of the observation. Scientific inquiry includes creating a testable hypothesis through inductive reasoning, testing it through experiments and statistical analysis, and adjusting or discarding the hypothesis based on the results. Now, that's very similar to dealing with research method, right? And you can hear in the scientific method is used what? Qualitative and quantitative, right? You hear the qualitative and the quantitative method in the scientific methodology, right? So it's very similar. It says, although procedure vary across fields, the underlying process is often similar. In more detail, the scientific method involves making conjectures, hypothetical explanation, predicting the logical consequences of hypotheses, then carrying out experiments or empirical observation based on those predictions. A hypothesis is a conjecture based on knowledge obtained while seeking answers to the questions. Hypotheses can be very specific or broad, but must be falsifiable, implying that it is possible to identify a possible outcome of an experiment or observation that conflicts with prediction deduced from the hypothesis. Otherwise, the hypothesis cannot be meaningfully tested. So, what it means to falsify something. So, falsify or falsibility is a deductive standard of evaluation of scientific theories and hypotheses. That means that you have to be able to refute it. If you cannot refute the information, right, then it's not able to be falsified. All right. So let's look at scientific method versus research method. All right. So since they use AI, let's see what AI say. The scientific method is a specific process for investigating phenomena and testing hypotheses, while research methods are the various techniques used to gather and analyze data. The scientific method provides a framework for conducting research, but research itself can involve various methods. All right, and then it shows the relationship. So the relationship is the scientific method provides a broad framework for conducting research, and research method are the specific tools and techniques used within that framework. For example, a researcher might use the scientific method to investigate a question, and within that process, they might use a survey as a research method to collect data. All right. So again, the scientific method provides a broad framework for conducting research. Okay. And research method are the specific tools and techniques used within that framework. So that means you cannot have a scientific method without being able to use research methods. And you cannot have research method without scientific methods. Because you need certain type of tools and certain type of information in order to conduct a scientific method, right? You cannot have a scientific method without the research method. It's just impossible to do so. You cannot, and I say you cannot use scientific methods without doing the research. You got to have the research method because that's what's going to enhance it. So again, I ask for those in Pseudo Killas, what type of scientific have you used scientific method? Have you truly used your scientific method to truly back up the claims that you made about certain stuff being pseudo? Now, I'm not knocking primary sources, right? We need sources. We need books. We need all of that. But outside of the books, right? Outside of articles, have any person in Pseudo Killer actually used the scientific methods or research methods? Yes, observation is a tool. Yes, I never denied that. No, nowhere did I say you cannot have observation. I never said observation is not necessary or is not needed. Never made that argument. What I'm saying is, how can it be possible to use a scientific method if you're not going to use a research method? Because the research method is what's going to enhance the scientific methods. Keyword research. You got to research on the information, right? You got to research on that particular source, right? Again, I never said observation was not a method. I never said that. I think we both can agree on that. We know that observation is needed. But what my argument stands is, how can somebody say they use scientific method without using research method? Let's go back to that definition. Let's go back real quick. I agree. I agree with what you're saying, brother Kevin. I agree with you. I agree. Let's go back. Let's go back to it. Watch this. It says the relationship. You still you got to use observation either way it goes, right? But watch this. The scientific method provides a broad framework for conducting research. And research methods are the specific tools and techniques used within that framework. Okay. For example, researchers might use the scientific method to investigate a question, and within that process, they might use a survey as a research method to collect data. So I'm asking this question for those in Pseudo Killas who's always saying that everything is pseudo, or who's quick to say a lot of stuff is pseudo. Have you conducted that type of research? Have you actually conducted the scientific method? Outside using primary sources, right? Secondary sources. Have you actually conducted your own research? Have you actually sat down and interviewed people on the certain type of subject that you say is pseudo? I'm just asking. I'm curious. I'm curious. I'm curious to know. And I want to say this for the record. I'm not the most knowledgeable person. Okay. I'm not the most educated person on here. All right. And as I mentioned, even I need to learn about research methodology. Even I have to learn about scientific methods. I may have to go back. I need to go back and learn more about it. Learn more about these two subjects so I can better enhance myself. So I can admit that. I can admit I'm not a very bright person. I can admit that I don't have all the answer. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I do, because I don't. Because I like to study things, but I want to be able to make sure that I further enhance my research. I want to be able to make sure I can write a book one day, or write an essay, or do some type of presentation. I want to make sure that I further enhance. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh yeah, Sean does a great job, but then shout out to brother Sean. I'm gonna give him a special shout out because he does a great job. He does a great job with doing great presentation or whatnot. I give him that. Now, unbiased sport, I don't know. I don't know because unbiased sports, I don't know. That I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about unbiased sports. I don't. Mm. That's another topic. Yeah. So that's another topic, but that's another one. That's another interesting guy. But I'm not even gonna bring him into this conversation because it ain't about him. But yes, it's very important that we all learn how to do proper research. It's very important that we all learn how to do proper research. Okay? So you won't look a hot mess like Cedric did the other night. And I saw that video. I saw the video where he tried to clear himself up, where he tried to basically clear his name. I saw that video. Baby boy, just admit that you was using them damn AI quotes. Just admit that shit. You ain't actually go do no thorough research. Your behind went up there and got that AI quote to put in your presentation because you wanted to make things easier. And I'm not against AI. I'm not against it because it's a new thing. But when it comes to dealing with research, right? That's when I wish I did too. But hold on real quick. Okay. Yeah, I wish I would have had that clip too, but you know what? I have to be careful because YouTube is getting people for copyrights, and I ain't trying to get no copyrights for trying to use somebody else's information. So I'm gonna have to figure out another way how to do it without getting the copyright. But anyways, anywho, anywho, um, yeah. Let me get on to the next subject matter because I had to think about what I was gonna talk about next. Oh yeah, I want to get on another subject matter, but I want to share this book real quick. But make sure for you guys and the members of Pseudo Killas, y'all put this book in your archive. And I already purchased one. I purchased this book right here, so this will help me in the long run. All right. Also, here's another book. Critical Thinking Skills for Dummies. Yeah. Yeah, critical thinking skills for dummies. Because I'm not saying that all of y'all are like that, but it's some of y'all that lacks the critical thinking. Some of you, just some of you. So I want to just recommend this book for you guys. Okay? You know, because we got to learn how to better enhance our critical thinking. All right? Again, it's not all of you, but some of y'all, yeah, some of y'all need this book. Yeah, some of y'all need it. All right, so let's get into the professor. Let me try to make it fast and quick. So this is a well-respected professor within the Black community and even in the conscious community. His name is Dr. Tika Kilimanjaro. Dr. Tika Kilimanjaro. That's the name that he goes by. And when I tell you he's a well-respected elder, a scholar, that's what he is. Okay. And he is good at research methods. He has plenty of books out. So I'm on Fisk University, okay? And Fisk University is a HBCU that's located in Mississippi. All right. Let me see. Let me make sure I got it right. Is it okay? Fisk University is actually in Tennessee. My bad. I said the wrong location. It's in Tennessee. So this elder has a background and he has a body of work to prove it. So it says in the decades since earning a PhD with honors in sociology from Howard University, Dr. Tika Kilimanjaro has taught research methods and statistics at 3 universities, written extensively on applied research methods and statistical chair college departments, been vice president and director of institutional research, been director of university assessment and strategic planning, been lead researcher on a national internet broadband grant, been a part of several successful core leadership teams that investigated NCA and SACS-COC. Let me see, where am I at? 10 core leadership teams that investigate. Okay, I think. Okay, yeah, I already read that part. Yeah, they investigate the NCA and SACS-COC 10-year reaffirmation. And as a research scientist, he has a dedicated work history of social justice in historically underserved urban communities. Even more important to him, however, is that he has been a quality father to his 3 daughters, and his wealth of technical expertise applies statistics and research experiences, systematic preparation, attention to detail, organizational precision, and integrity will serve the Fisk University community well. All right, so I actually got this brother on Facebook, but he has written so many books, and I'm gonna tell you, his books is not very cheap at all. And he also have his own press called the University of Kemet Press. Okay, so I will show you guys the book that I have. Well, I have one book actually. I'm planning on getting some more. All right, so he's in that realm. Yes, he's in that realm. However, he is a Black brother. Yes, he deals with a lot of, African and African American history, and he studies a lot on Kemet. So yes, he's in that realm, but at the same time, he's very credible, and he used a lot of sources, great sources. Okay, so here it is. This book right here is called My Aunt's Guiding Principle of Moral Living. All right, this is one of his books that I have, and this book is $34. Again, he has his own independent press called the University of Kemet Press. All right. All right, so and then I also had the pleasure of checking out one of his other books. I think I had checked out his other book that dealt with the history about the African, about the African culture, the African history. Let me look up what that book called. Let's see. I'm trying to see because trying to find that book. Ooh. All right, so let me show you guys the screen. I don't know if you guys able to see it. So this is another book that I read. It's called African Time. All right, so it gives a timeline, the chronological history of dealing with basically going to the Homo sapiens all the way up to the current present time, right? So he started out talking about the Homo sapien in that book, and he talks about the, of course, ancient Egyptian history. Then he gets in talking about West Africa, Central Africa. I think he talked about. I know he talked about the transatlantic slave trade and all of that in his book. All right, and when I say this man got plethora of books, he got a long catalog. He has a long catalog. Okay, let me as a matter of fact, let me look his website up. Let me look up the website. I think it's the University of Kemet Press. Let's see, University. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to find his website. All right, I think this is it. Okay, yeah, this is the website right here. When I tell you he has a long catalog, he has a very long catalog. Watch this. Hold up. So he has a long catalog. As a matter of fact, he has a book on the art of research. Let me see if I can. Oh my goodness. Trying to find all this. All right. So this is his website. Art of research, philosophy and method, indigenous African population. I mean the list goes on. When I tell you it goes on, it goes on. So you see how much his books is, right? It's pretty pricey. So you deal with somebody that's an independent researcher. Okay. When you do independent research and you have your own press company, your books is going to cost a lot of money. Okay. It's going to cost. It's not going to be cheap at all. So, all right. And it says, look up the body of work by Abdul Karim Bangugura about research methodologies. All right, let me see who you're talking about, brother. Let me see who you're talking about. Abdul Karim. Abdul Karim Luga. Oh, okay, cool. Interesting. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right. So, do he have books? Let's see. Do he have any books? Okay, pretty dope. Let's see. He has 5 PhDs in political science, developmental economics, linguistic, computer science, and mathematics. That's interesting. And he is a researcher in residence of Abrahamic Connection and Islamic Peace Studies at American University Center for Global Peace. All right, let's see the books that he has. Oh, I think I heard of him. Let's see. Oh, African mathematics. Yeah. Okay. I think I heard this elder. Let me see. Let me see. Do he got books? Research. Research methods. Let's look up research methods. Okay. I think I see it right here. That's pretty dope. I'm glad that you introduced me to this. As a matter of fact, let me see. Oh yeah, it's too damn small. All right, I see it. Hmm. Okay, it's cool. African Center research methodologies from ancient time to present. Abdul Karim Bangura. Oh, that's pretty dope. All right, that's something that I would like to invest into. Yes. Thank you, Brother Kevin. I appreciate you bringing that information out. Shout out to Brother Kevin. Shout out to Brother Kevin for that. So, yes. Ooh. So, yes, so far there's 2 respected elders. Brother Abdul Karim Bangura and Dr. Tika Kilimanjaro. Dr. Tika Kilimanjaro and Kareem Bangura. So there's 2 people that people can look into and find out more information about. So I'm going to yeah, I'm going to put that on my bucket list. And I think that's important because people tend to think that those from the West African culture or Central West Africa did not study research methodology, or they did not know anything about research methods or know how to be scientifically knowledgeable or anything. I mean, it's a lot of misconception that excuse me, there's a lot of misconception going on regarding to individuals from the continent that either they're not scientifically knowledgeable or they don't use research methods. So we got to dispel that mythology. But thank you for that information. I really appreciate it. Shout out to you, Brother Kevin. Thank you, Brother Kevin. You're always coming through with some great sources. Yep. But anyways, you guys. So I have talked my time up on here. I didn't plan on being on here for this long, to be honest with you. But yes, it's important. Again, it's important again that we know about research methods. that we know about scientific methods. All right. So only thing I can do is give out sources and information. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, like I said, I'm not the brightest person on the planet. I'm not the smartest person. But when I know how to go look up something that is related to a topic or subject, I will do that. That I will do. I will do that without a shadow of a doubt. But also check out the works of Okon Ide Uya. Let's look him up real quick. Okon. You say Okon Ide Uya. Okay. Okon Ide Uya. Uya. Okay, let's see. We got him. See what he did. Okay. I see he got some books on there. I'll check him out. Let me see who else. Oh, I'm familiar with that brother, the one that you mentioned, Menu Empim. Menu Empim. Yeah, I'm familiar with him. Let's see, Menu Empim. You know, and that brother don't get much credit. A lot of people don't talk much about him. So I'm glad that you brought him up. Yeah. A lot of people don't talk much about him. All right. So if you on my Facebook page, just reach out to me. If you got a Facebook, Kevin, just reach out to me. Just type in my name and my picture will pop up. So type in my name, my first name, my last name. So I'll give you my first and last name, and you can just send the information to me. Okay. All right. So yeah, look me up on Facebook and send the sources to me. It's called History, Culture, Diaspora, and Nation Building, the collected work of Oku Ide Uya. That's a must read. All right. Yeah, send that information to me. All right. Yeah, just make sure if you have a Facebook, send it to me. If not, sweetheart, you're late in the game. That's what. Why did you think I posted this man up? Why you think I posted up Dr. Tika Kilimanjaro? You're late in the game. I appreciate you though, but you late in the game. I've been knowing about accredited people with college degrees. Ashley, you talking to somebody that been to college? No, I don't have a degree, but I've been to college. So I'm good at reaching out to people who have actual college degrees. So I'm not one of those people that go around just listening to folks who don't have degrees. I don't. And my YouTube catalog is full of mostly those who are college professors. So my subscription is going to be pertain to a lot of those who are college professors. The only time I really deal with people who's not into college is those who I know that's actually doing their independent research and that actually have a connection with those that are college professors. All right. Or those who I really admire or respect. But outside of that, that's all I look into is scholarly sources. Okay, so I appreciate you, but also I would encourage you to study more in depth about Black history, African history, and not just be so biased. I ain't saying all that. I didn't say that. I'm not saying all that. I'm not saying all that. All right, so I don't want you to put words in my mouth because I'm not saying that. Hey, I'm slow in areas. So I'm slow in areas. And I admit that. Okay, brother, I saw it. I'll make sure that I add you. I admit that. I admit that I'm slow in areas, so I'm not the brightest person on the planet. I'm not the smartest person. And I'll let it be known. I'll tell you that. But here's the thing. But you know what? What makes a person smart is a person's willing to learn. As long as you have that drive and motivation to learn something and acquire some knowledge and information, that's what's going to make you smart. It's not basically how much you know. You can know all the things in the world and still not know everything. Again, you can know all the information in the world and still not know everything. What makes you smart is the ability to go out and acquire knowledge. What makes a person smart is the ability to go out and acquire knowledge, to seek wisdom. That's what makes a person smart. So, I'm just on a quest for knowledge. And as I always say, I'm a student of life. I'm a student of life. Because you keep bringing that FBA and ADOS stuff. And that's another topic in itself. But that's why I say you biased on that level. Because you keep bringing the ADOS and FBA stuff over here to me. So, but I'll let you have that. But I am a student of life. I'm going to continue to be a student of life. I'm going to continue to be on a quest for knowledge, be on a journey for knowledge. I am. I mean, that's all I can say, so it is what it is. But anyways, you guys, I don't want to be over here talking too long, but I thank you all for tuning in, watching. Shout out to those of you that are watching, and shout out to those of you that are supporting my channel, whatever. I've been after him, Clarence. I've been after him. I've been after him. I agree. But hey, I agree. But yeah, let me go ahead and get off of here. It's late at night. It's late on my end. So I hope you all have a wonderful evening, wonderful day or night or whatever your time zone may be. Until next time, peace and power elevation. This your girl Tiffany, and I'm logging off. And hopefully I'll be more fully prepared for my video next time. Okay. So yeah. But I'm gonna go ahead and log off of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful night. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. And I'll keep you guys posted. Peace.